Welcome back to the Flip Bama Flip podcast. I'm your host, Victoria, and today I'm going to give you everything you need to know about the structure of the postseason. Now, I will do a very specific podcast for Alabama and what is their specific path to hopefully a national championship. But today it is just all about what does the postseason look like? What do the rounds look like? How many rounds are there? How do you move from one round to another? This way, no matter what team you're following, you understand how does a team win a national championship. So we're going to start with the fact that there are 4 regions. This is very much like what we see in March Madness and college basketball. This year, the 4 host regions are Baton Rouge, Tempe, Arizona, Lexington, Kentucky, and then Corvallis, Oregon. Now, Tuscaloosa was actually a host site last year, and that was so much fun. I know the team loved being able to compete in front of a home crowd. I think probably having that home crowd support maybe lifted them so that they were able to upset Cal and make it to semifinals. So unfortunately, because we were the host site last year, probably not going to be the host site anytime soon. But this year we will be traveling to Oregon, to the Corvallis region, and that's the regional site where Alabama will be competing. 36 teams make it into the postseason, but only 32 start competing at regionals. And the reason for that is because at each regional site, there is one play-in meet where 2 teams go head-to-head to see who is that 8th team in that region. And so those start before any of the regional action at that site start. The very first regional play-in is on April 1st. And what you're going to see is that the Baton Rouge regional site and the Tempe regional site are kind of paired up together, and they will do things on the same day, while Lexington and Corvallis are paired up together, and they will do things on the same day. And you'll see them kind of alternate going one day and then the next and the next, just so that teams aren't competing multiple days in a row. That's just too much on their bodies. And so you'll see them alternate in that manner. Now, after the play-in, you have 8 teams per region. So again, now we're down to 32 teams. And at that point, every step along the way until we get to finals, that number will be cut in half. So we start with 32 at the regional semifinals. So there will be 2 regional semifinal meets per region. And that's simply because there are 8 teams and we're not trying to cram 8 teams into one meet. So it's very similar to what we're seeing at conference championships, where you have one meet in the afternoon and then you have another meet in the evening to accommodate the large number of teams. And so you'll have 2 meets, 4 teams per meet. All these meets are now going to be quad meets. And the top 2 teams move on. That's really the key all the way up until you get to finals. So at regional level, at the semifinal level, you got to be in the top 2 to make it to the next round until you get to finals, at which point it is winner take all. You are just trying to finish first and win that national championship. So at the regional semifinals, again, 8 teams per region, 2 meets, top 2 move on, so that at the regional finals level, you have only 4 teams per region, 16 teams total. Now, we have reason to believe that Alabama, who competes in the regional semifinal on Friday, April 3rd at 3 p.m., we have reason to believe that they should move through that and make it to the regional semifinals, which is actually going to be on Easter Sunday, April 5th. And all of the regional action can be streamed on ESPN Plus. So once we get into the national semifinals and finals, those are usually broadcast on ESPN or some other major network. But all of the regional action, including the play-ins meets, can be streamed on ESPN Plus. And so assuming that Alabama makes it through the regional semifinal on April 3rd, they make it to the regional finals on April 5th. And if they make it through that, then they get to move on to national semifinals. Those take place in Fort Worth, and there's a bit of a break. National semifinals is not until April 16th. That's a Thursday. And just like conference championships, there will be an afternoon session and an evening session. Once again, we have 8 teams, not trying to have them all compete in one meet together. And so from those 8 teams, again, top 2 in each meet move on, and they become the final 4. We refer to that as the 4 on the floor. And those 4 teams are just going head to head for that national championship. And so that is really the path. So if you have to play in, you play into the regional semifinals, then you got to finish in the top 2. Then you go to regional finals, finish in the top 2, go to national semifinals, finish in the top 2, and then get to finals and bring that national championship home. And so Alabama, again, is going to be in that Corvallis region. We'll be competing on Friday, April 3rd, Sunday, April 5th, and then hopefully on Thursday, April 16th. And finals, national finals, is on Saturday, April 18th. So it's going to be a bit of a whirlwind. I love this time of year because even when maybe whoever wins the actual national championships is somewhat expected, there is always some type of drama along the way, whether it's a team that is just catching fire at the right time and kind of coming out of nowhere. I think of Missouri and Michigan State last year making it super far, and we were kind of like, where did they come from? And that was so amazing. To having teams that maybe we expected them to make it and we expected them to just kind of breeze through to finals, and then they don't. Last year, that was LSU and Florida, both who got stopped at the semifinal level. And the year before that, it was Oklahoma, who I think everyone had crowned national championship, kind of the de facto national champions, before the competition even began. And then they had that uncharacteristic vault routine, vault rotation where they got knocked out at the semifinal level. So, you never know what's going to happen. That's why we have the meets. That's why we have the competition. This year, again, Alabama is not necessarily favored all the way till finals, but doesn't mean that we can't find our way in. And looking at how the team has performed this year and how high their ceiling is, and how I do feel like we are on an upswing, I'm pretty hopeful that we are going to see this team in Fort Worth battling for a national championship and hopefully bringing the hardware home to Tuscaloosa. But until next time, and we will talk about Alabama's specific path, which is a little bit difficult. We will discuss it and figure out how are we going to get through. But until then, roll tide.